Meet me. Welcome back, boys. I've been getting a lot of messages on Discord about this, so we're going to do another episode of Should You Pull. By the way, if I don't respond to you on Discord, don't take it personal. I always say this. There's just too many of you. If you want a fast response, there's a bunch of awesome guys on my Discord who will get back to you faster than I possibly could. And with that out of the way, let's get started. So today we're going to talk about Lilius, Vildred, the Mystic Banner, and I'm going to touch on the C.Dom recall just a little bit, which I think was nonsense anyway. They don't need to do a recall for a text change, but whatever, it's good for all of us. So, let's start off with Lilius. Should you pull? Yeah, you should pull. So back in the day, she was considered basically like a secret ML5. That's what people called her because she was so damn good. The opinion on her has kind of I don't know, gone down a little bit. Some people aren't too keen on Lilius anymore, but I will say I'm a decently high RTA player. Was only a few hundred points away from Legend last season, and I drafted her all the time, and I saw people draft her against me fairly regularly. So even though with like things like LR Crow, A Tywin, all these other knights coming out, she kind of lost some of her thunder, she is still a very solid pick. Her S3 is just so strong against so many heroes like Cerise and Bassar and stuff, especially on Steadfast Gatekeeper, and she could cut people. Full cleanse, absolutely crazy. Like, pretty much any like opening debuffing move that doesn't straight up stun or silence her, she can get it off. S2, a two-turn provoke. I mean, two-turn provoke is nuts, and it can actually like end games. And I know a lot of games that ended up in Battle Frenzy where the Soul Burn S2 ends the game because you can even like provoke a Ruel or something. Very, very strong. And the S1, obviously a guaranteed dual attack, is extremely powerful, especially if you have nothing but DPS left. This is just a very, very good hero. I use her in Guild Wars all the time, actually. If you watch my Guild Wars videos, you know I use her in pretty much every fight. So in Guild Wars, super strong. Also got to mention that she's very strong in pretty much all PvE content. She was a staple for me in PvE a long time ago, and I still did PvE. I actually think she's still on my Golem team. I just never do Golem. But she's just an all-around fantastic hero. You will not regret building her. And a lot of things that people forget is that she actually does a crap ton of damage for a knight. People don't notice because typically they just mola her S3 to +3 and then her S2 to maxed out 100% and they ignore everything else. You can do that for sure if you're just using her as a utility knight, which is perfectly viable. But I've seen +15 Liliuses that where they go like a little bit of crit damage and attack, not attack, crit chance, and she actually hits really hard, especially if you're running her with someone with a lot of high attack on your team. Even the S3 will do like team-wide like 5k damage. And you guys may have seen some troll Gunther videos where she can actually one-shot teams because Gunther can have like 8,000 attack. That's not typical, obviously, but still a very fantastic all-purpose hero that should be in everyone's arsenal. Now let's talk about Vildred. Should you pull? No. You should not pull for this hero. That is my shot. Unless they buff him. Like, again, anytime I do these videos, it's based on their current state. If they change the hero to make them better, obviously it might not apply. But as of his current utilization right now, there is no reason to pull for him. So back when I started the game, Vildred was actually a fairly coveted hero because if you didn't have Arbiter, he was basically the best dog walker you can have because his S1 hits really hard and he has the S2 that gives him increased attack and clean sweeps the team. He was a very fast dog walker, but in the end game, you're barely doing adventure anyway. You're just doing hunts, and Vildred isn't really that useful for hunts. And with things like Lena and stuff that came, there's just so many heroes in the game that could reliably dog walk now, and so many people just have Arbiter. For that purpose, he's essentially outdated. I mean, he's still a solid dog walker, but if that's all you're building him for, it's a waste of a pull. Now, PvP. People are going to say, well, can I use him in PvP? And the answer for the most part is no. You're going to see some niche people like use him, not even regularly, but occasionally. And the only reason they use him is this. He has a +12 speed imprint, which is just 2 speed shy of the max you can get. Like, sure, we will have like 14. I believe that I forget. No one uses her. A Surin. Surin also has a 14 speed imprint, but people will use him as like a follow-up cleave. They'll build him with like 200 to like 220 speed, just bring him for the speed imprint to make sure that their Flitica or Cerise or Alots or whatever it is guaranteed to go first, and they'll use him as like a cleanup after their main cleave. And in that role, he kind of works, but that's just so niche that it's not worth. If you're short on bookmarks, that limited role is not worth it for you. Because honestly, those kind of people are at the end game already. If you're relying on Vildred for speed imprints, you're probably like end game cleaving and have like 280 plus speed units. Otherwise, even an imprint won't save you. So at that point, if you're one of those players, you probably have 10 Vildreds already. Now, the only other reason to pull for this banner is if you have Arbiter Vildred and you really want attack imprints on him. Now, if you want to do that, that's on you, but I typically advise against pulling for imprints. Like, imprints do make a difference, but if you're resource starved and you only have like 300 bookmarks, and with things like collabs possibly coming up, is it worth it to blow all that for, 3% attack? No, it is not. The artifact, when it first came out, I thought it might be usable, but honestly, I gotta say, I've never seen anyone use it, so I don't think it's worth it to pull for the artifact if you really want to go to the powder shop. Which means I forgot to talk about Lilius's artifact. It's okay. I do see it occasionally, usually on like Lilius or someone's like backup knights. They did buff it recently to give the ally the highest attack immunity, which made it a lot better, but still it's hard to justify not using like Adamant Aureus a lot of the time, so it's still definitely not the most common artifact, but it is pretty solid. Mystics. Let's just cover this real quick. We already did this, but Solitaria, I think most people should skip this. I'm not going to say she's a bad hero, but in my playtesting, her use is limited. And you're going to need good speed gear, so if you're a new player, it's probably not going to be great bang for the buck for you. As for the next one, LQC is very big in the RTA meta right now. For newer players, she's not going to help you all that much in PvE though, and in PvP, to make her work, you really need some sick nasty gear. This is a hero that is very stat hungry, and if you don't have the stats on her, she's not like a knight or something where you can just slap on some ghetto gear on her, and for the most part, they still end up doing their jobs. If you don't have great gear on LQC, she just ends up being a liability because she dies too fast, she doesn't do enough damage, she doesn't get a turn. Like, it's hard to get because she really needs everything. Right? She needs speed, she needs to hit hard, she needs to survive the first few hits. She's very good though, particularly because of like G-Purge and like dark units. She's very good. Luckily, I got her the first time she came around, so I don't have to worry about it. But if I had to pick between the two heroes and you're saying like, should I pick up Solitaria or LQC? LQC is probably the better bet for most people right now. And for the last thing that we're going to cover is the C.Dom recall. I already did it to get Great Chief Kawana because she's the only hero I am missing. I don't even intend to use her. But, basically, if you still have the recall and you have a C.Dom, you'll have this recall button in the center. Click on it, and it'll give you a selector that lets you pick whatever ML4 you want. Now, C.Dom is a very good ML4, so if you don't have extras, it might not even be worth it to recall her unless you have something better to get. Note, if you fed a C.Dom into your C.Dom, you can recall her and also get your C.Dom back. They have check out the Epic7 Still website. They have some little web utility that will tell you if you imprinted a C.Dom into your C.Dom, in which case you should definitely recall because you'll get a free ML4, get your C.Dom back. It's a win-win. Now, to cover real quick what ML4 you should get, if you do want to trade her in, let's go to the 4 stars here. I would say priorities would be T-Surin, Sinful Angie, General Purgus is huge. I highly recommend you get General Purgus if you don't have him. Troublemaker is pretty big in the meta right now, although I'm wondering if he'll fall off. I'm not as keen on him as everyone else is yet, and that's coming from a player who plus 15'd him and used him extensively long before his buffs. I just haven't struggled with Trozet team, so I'm kind of still undecided on him. Fighter Maya, very strong, but you're going to need some good defense gear. Oxlots, obviously, if you don't have him and you want to cleave, that's a no-brainer. Watcher Shuri, maybe, especially if you want to do one-shot teams. And Champ Z is also a big go. He's not as common in RTA anymore, but in certain PvE content and in the middle ranks against debuff teams, he's always a very scary counter. So those are the things that I would consider getting if you were going to trade your CDom in, but with a real emphasis on like General Purgus and T. Surin. T. Surin's not as good as she used to be, but still very solid. Like these two are very good. And C.Dom, not C.Dom, Champ Z would be third. And then follow-ups would be things like Sinful, Troublemaker. Actually, Alots would also be first tier if you don't have him somehow. Watcher Shuri would be second tier. And everything else, I would say just wait till you pull it from Galaxy Bookmarks or something, or from an accidental covenant. So anyways, that's my should you pull video. I hope for some of you newbies that helped you out. So quick summary, Lilius, definitely get her. Vildred, definitely skip her. Solitaria, if you're a new player, definitely skip her. And LQC, it's up to you, but she's hard to gear. So anyways, that's this episode of Should You Pull. Best of luck to you guys if you do go for these heroes. Until next time, peace out, boys, and best of luck. And do not forget, when you pull, to join Channel Nuts, and you meet Meep, and you'll get an ML5, like this dude right here, you know? It's a magical channel that just gives you stuff. Alright, so till next time, boys, peace out.